Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your TNA Slammiversary 10. That was earlier tonight, and I just got the news and came home from work and posting the news for everybody to listen and see what happened during the pay-per-view. Okay, the show opened with a video including footage of the first TNA ever event for Slammiversary and notable moments in the company's history, including the arrivals of Kurt Angle and Hulk Hogan. Then the narrator played up their event 10 years of unforgettable memories. Mike Tenay and Taz introduced the show as the camera panned in the building. There's good vocal and crowd reaction in attendance for some reason. They spun around the show to show the empty seats on the hard camera section. And Hogan made his entrance and received a good reaction from the live crowd. Hogan welcomed viewers to the Slammiversary. This is celebrating, Hogan said. This is 10 years of TNA Impact Wrestling. Hogan said that the next 10 years are going to be twice as awesome. Hogan then said he loves pushing buttons. He said he's been around the block a few times and wants to go old school. Hogan said the first match will be Austin Aries versus Samoa Joe. He added that the X Division title will be on the line. The building looks good and the crowd is really hot, being from Arlington, Texas. The lighting is excellent. Hogan didn't say much, but the crowd loved him. Only real complaint is that Hogan didn't say that Austin Aries came to him and wanted to put the title on the line himself. That would have made him look like more of a fighting champion. It's a small detail, and Aries won't be hurt by it, but it would have made a nice touch. Match number 1, Austin Aries versus Samoa Joe for the X Division title. There were dueling chants for the two wrestlers right away. Aries cleared Joe to ringside and was setting up for a suicide dive, but Joe caught him with a kick and then got back in the ring and went on the offense. Aries connected with a suicide dive a couple of minutes later and got a big rise out of the hot crowd. The dueling chant started again. Aries was going for a brain buster when Joe avoided it and slammed him down with a great power bomb. Joe rolled Aries over and applied a Boston Crab and then applied a crossface. Aries got out of the hold, but Joe remained the aggressor. Later, Aries and Joe fought on the ropes. Aries pushed Joe down and followed up with a great 450 splash for an excellent near fall. Finally, at 10 minutes in the match, Joe applied the rear naked choke. Aries arched back and turned it into a pin attempt for another excellent fall, a near fall. At 10 minutes 30 seconds, Joe caught Aries with a one-arm slam in the corner and then played to the crowd. Joe tried to go up for the Muscle Buster, but Aries countered with a wild crucifix slam. Aries blasted Joe with a kick and a forearm and an awesome running drop kick in the corner. Aries hit the brain buster and scored the clean pin in the middle of the ring. After the match, Joe, who had a bloody nose, stood up and smiled while fist pumping Aries. That type of fist pump. Also left the ring and started to talk to the camera about being the best, but they cut away. So Austin Aries defeated Samoa Joe to retain the X Division title in 11 minutes 45 seconds. Truly awesome match. Both wrestlers worked their asses off and for the live crowd, and it was hot for everything they did. Here's hoping we get more from those two. There's no reason that couldn't be a big TV main event with the right build-up. For that matter, if TNA positioned the X Division title properly and gave them more in-ring time, that would have been a more better suitable as a pay-per-view main event. Maybe we'll get it at Destination X pay-per-views, since the plan at last check was to feature the X Division again. Then they showed footage airing from around the Arlington, Texas area. The announcer spoke at ringside and pointed out a radio DJ who won a contest to be a guest timekeeper. Taz mocked him for not dressing up. Match number 2, returning to TNA action for several months from being out of action for an unknown reason. Kid Cash face off against another returning superstar, Hernandez, Super Mix. The crowd mellowed out as the match started due to the opening match. Cash worked over Hernandez's arm early on. Hernandez came back and hit the big dive over the top rope onto Cash on the floor. Back inside the ring, Hernandez went for the border toss, but Cash escaped. Cash caught Hernandez on the ropes and fought him, but Hernandez got the better of it and pushed him down to the mat. Hernandez followed up with a top rope splash for the clean pin. And that match took about 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Fine for what it was. The live crowd warmed up to it. It was fairly vocal considering hot they were for the previous match, and more importantly, that neither guy had been on TV lately. So that was a surprise and added match to the pay-per-view. There was no sign of Sarita or Rosita, and Hernandez played to the live crowd as a babyface during the match. And I found out that Sarita was participating in another company event. She may have not had anything to do with the pay-per-view for tonight anyway, so she just wasn't there. Announcers aired moment number 3 in TNA history, which was AJ Styles defeating Jerry Lynn to become the first ever X Division champion. And match number 3 itself, Devon and Garrett Bischoff versus Robbie E and Robbie T. There was some "You Can't Wrestle" chants early on when Garrett and Robbie were in the ring. The fans followed up with a "We Want Devon" chant, leaving little doubt as to whom the chants were directed at. Madison Rayne walked onto the stage as the announcers questioned who she had a crush on. One of them commented that was asking, "Is she 16 again?" Let the record show that Earl Hebner was once again in the ring when Madison came out to watch her mystery man. Okay, so it's probably Garrett. But a bizarre Earl and Madison relationship is more appealing in a strange way. Devon took a hot tag from Garrett at 4 minutes 30 seconds into the match. Crowd fired up for the offensive flurry on Robbie E. Devon went for the cover at one point, but Robbie T broke that up. Short time later, Garrett dove onto Robbie T with a pinfall looking cross body block off the ring apron. And then Devon hit the spine buster on Robbie E for the win. Devon and Garrett danced afterwards. Devon and Garrett Bischoff defeated Robbie E and Robbie T. The persons who thought it would be cool if Devon and Garrett danced together after the match was dead wrong. So I wonder if that was unscripted or storyline. Madison should immediately reconsider if she has the hots for either one of them. Mike Tenay turned it over to Jeremy Borash backstage and noted that he's been with the company since day one. Borash brought Christopher Daniels and Kazarian and noted that they've been with the company for 9 of the 10 years as well. Daniels handed Borash a glass and toasted himself and Kazarian. And that's the end of that segment. Well, Mr. Anderson's music played, and he made his entrance sporting a darker, shorter hair. Apparently, his biggest fan in the world is the building because it couldn't help but notice the one guy jumping up and down like a lunatic when his music started. Anderson did his usual entrance routine, and the live crowd joined in. Match number 4, Anderson versus Hardy versus RVD in a 3-way match to earn a title shot. Hardy flipped a coin and followed as it rolled behind him and then back in front of him. He then attacked Van Dam to start the match. RVD went for an early monkey flip, but Anderson shoved him down to the mat. A few minutes later, Van Dam performed a monkey flip on Anderson and propelled him onto Hardy. RV went for a cover, but Anderson reached up and grabbed the bottom rope. RVD stopped to play to the crowd with his thumb point routine. Anderson followed with a backslide moment later. Hardy dropped split leg onto Van Dam's leg for a simultaneous pin, only to have Van Dam kick out, which was a cool spot. Well, just before the 9-minute mark, Hardy drove from the top rope onto both of his opponents on the floor, which drew a TNA chant. With Anderson on the floor, Hardy and Van Dam squared off in the ring. Hardy got the better of it with a whisper in the wind for near fall. Taz said that there was no wasted motion by Hardy. Hardy got RVD down and removed his shirt. He kicked Anderson through the ropes and then hit the swanton on Van Dam. Hardy went for the cover, but Anderson reached in and pulled on the referee to break up the count. Anderson threw Hardy aggressively through the ropes. RVD went for the Rolling Thunder, but Anderson caught him with a mic check and scored the clean pin. After the match, Anderson looked into the camera and said, "Bobby, I'm coming for you." So Mr. Anderson defeated RVD and Jeff Hardy in a three-way match, 11 minutes 35 seconds, to earn the TNA title shot. A fun spot fest with all three men working hard, and the live crowd was receptive to the high spots. The fans weren't giving any incentive to root for one man over the other, so most of the fans just seemed to pop for the high spots, whoever did the high spots, and enjoyed all the action. If Rude wins, then I'm sure people will say Anderson spoiled the main event finish with his line at the end. He really should have said the names of Rude and Sting, but I can't live with it since Rude is the current champion. Backstage segment, Jeremy Borash interviewed Crimson, who said it doesn't matter who accepts his open challenge because he will never be beaten. Well, Crimson then made his entrance and cut a promo about how he could beat anyone, including the Texas Rangers. After the promo, there was a long pause. A loud Goldberg chant broke out, and a surprise entrance of James Storm as his song played, and the crowd cheered. And it is Crimson versus James Storm as he returned to TNA action. And they started off brawling right away. Crimson made a comeback, but Storm caught him with a code breaker. Storm followed up with a super kick and scored a clean pin. The match took about 2 minutes 10 seconds. Storm shook up beer bottles and sprayed some into the crowd during his post-match celebration. He poured some onto Crimson at ringside. Possibility, okay, cool moment of the crowd was hot for Storm. Making his return, they seemed to forget about Bill Goldberg immediately. The bad news is that they blew off Crimson unbeaten streak without getting much out of it. Backstage segment again with Jeremy Borash interviewing Austin Aries, who said he wants to be the man who sets the bar that everyone else has to reach for. Doesn't everybody that pull-up bar? Well, they got to reach for that. Quite simply, I want to be in the main event, and I will do whatever it takes to get there. The number 2 moment in TNA history was shown, and is Hulk Hogan joining the company. Dixie Carter was then introduced. She headed to the ring and hyped that this was the largest TNA live crowd in the United States. Dixie thanked every wrestler who has ever stepped foot inside the ring and said that they are a huge part of the success. She then said that they have the best wrestlers in the world and called for the wrestlers to come onto the stage. AJ Styles was the first guy out, and the announcers played that up. Dixie introduced the first inductee into the TNA Hall of Fame. A Sting video package aired. Sting made his entrance and joined Carter at ringside. We're actually in the ring. A thank you Sting chant was going on with the crowd. Dixie said that the same chant. Sting gets everywhere. The fans started a loud yes chant briefly. Dixie said Sting joined the company and was only supposed to be for 1 year, but she asked him to stay on. She said it keeps going that way. Dixie said they will have the formal induction at Bound for Glory. Dixie handed the mic to Sting, and another loud thank you Sting chant broke out. Well, Sting's speech says he's not prepared. He thought he was just going to wrestle. He said the fans keep saying thank you, but he wants to be the one to say thank you. He thanked Dixie, the wrestlers on the stage, and did his own thank you chant for the fans. Sting said he's tried to entertain the fans since he has arrived in Nashville. That's where TNA originally started up. And hopefully tonight, you know something? Tonight it will be showtime. And Sting concluded. Okay, match number 6, Gail Kim versus Miss Tessmacher for the TNA Knockout title. Crowd was very flat early on as Gail went on the offense. They woke up a little when she stomped and blew them a kiss. Tenay and Taz praised longtime employees Keith Mitchell and Bob Ryder for their work behind the scenes. They also acknowledged that this is a homecoming for Tessmacher. Brooke started her comeback around right about the 5-minute mark. Gail pushed her out of the corner. Brooke cooked her. And there was a badly botched spot that followed. Gail played it off as a veteran by laughing at it as if it was something to stop Tessmacher's move. Gail went for Tessmacher's finish. But Brooke slid through Gail's legs and rolled her up for the pin. After the match, Christy Hemme interviewed Tessmacher on the floor and asked how it felt to win the title in her home state of Texas, which drew a big cheer from the fans. Brooke then spoke about how she never thought she'd make it to this moment and concluded with God bless Texas. And that match took about 7 minutes. I was worried that they were going to do this just to have a title change on the show. Just because it's Tessmacher's home state. Tessmacher is the most charismatic young babyface in the division. And they really should have built to that rather than just having Brooke win a 4-way to earn the title and take the title days later. The botched spot created a big lull and the finish didn't go off well. Unfortunately, this was the low point of the show thus far. Another backstage segment, Jeremy Borash interviewed Bully Ray, who said the contract that Joseph Park says he's not responsible if Park is injured. Ray said he may have been wrong when he thought he left Abyss for dead. If Abyss shows up tonight, I swear to God, I won't be wrong twice. And then they show a video recapping Bully Ray, Abyss, and Joseph Park's storyline. Match number 7, Bully Ray versus Joseph Park. Park walked out wearing a jogging suit and looked nervous. There was a Joseph Park chant followed by a Yankee Suck chant directed at Bully Ray. The fans then broke into a Let's Go Rangers chant with Yankee Suck in between. The bell rang and Park kept his jacket zipped up but removed his glasses. Well, Ray then slapped Park, who sheepishly backed into the corner. Ray called him a coward. Ray charged at Park, but he moved out of the way and then slapped Ray. Ray sold it before and after knocking Park to the mat. And he's taunting Park by saying, "Come on, lawyer boy." Ray said it while stepping on Park. A New York chant broke out. "That's not very nice," Hass said. Ray went to ringside and grabbed a chair, but Park stopped him from using it. Park looked to the crowd and picked up a chair himself. He looked for their approval to use it. Ray took advantage and knocked him down. Ray picked up the chair and slammed it over Park's back twice. Later in the match, Ray yelled New York City before jumping off the second rope. Park moved and the crowd roared. Park threw punches at Ray, the worst shoulder block in history, at least since Conan threw years ago, that I refer to as the worst in history ever. It was thrown at the wrestlers, basically walked together and Ray took a bump. Oops. Ray came back with a big boot to the head. He went to ringside and slid in a table, a kendo stick, and handcuffs inside the ring. And the fans started chanting ECW. Ray set up the table and went to use the kendo stick, but Park stopped him, and Park looked into the crowd again, and once again was cut down because he made the mistake of looking at the crowd. Taz says it's because he's like a little kid who sees bright lights and gets distracted. Well, at that time, Joseph Park rolled under the ring after taking an elbow drop. Abyss emerged from the other side. What the heck? Ray said. Abyss, who kept his back to the camera, chokeslammed Ray through the table and then crawled back underneath the ring. Park emerged back from the other side, original side that he rolled under, returning to the ring and pinned Bully Ray. And that match took 10 minutes, 25 seconds. Abyss kept his hood on and never turned his face towards the camera, so it looks like we had a stand-in and was ready for the story to end there, but no such luck. I think they're dragging it out, and it's going to overstay its welcome. That being said, this was booked nicely with Park making rookie mistakes at some points and Ray taking him lightly other times. Tenay and Tad did a really nice job with their calling of the match. Unlike a WWE announcer such as Michael Coleslaw. And they also did a nice job of explaining why certain things were happening. Alright, next up was Hulk Hogan making a second entrance of the night and said that he has one more surprise for the fans. He asked the fans to give it up for Christian Cage. Yes, Christian Cage, WWE Intercontinental Champion. Christian walked onto the stage and shook hands with Hogan. Christian walked down the ramp and received a good reaction from the crowd. Taz asked if he was the only one who was shocked to see him. He asked if Tenay knew about this one. Tenay said he did. Taz lost me there, but put over as a big deal, but don't get shocked by something that the president of the freaking company teased on her Twitter page and was on the front page of the TNA website itself. And Christian himself said on Facebook that he was headed to Arlington to be on the show as well. Christian entered the ring and there was a combination of welcome back and please come back chants. He said he'd been asked all week whether the rumors were true that he would appear at Slammiversary. Another yes chant broke out. He counted the four corners of the ring and said the last time he was there were a few more corners. He said that even though the ring may have changed, the venues might change, and some of the faces who walk down the stage may change. The fans are the one thing that doesn't change. He encouraged the fans in the building and the fans at home watching to stand up and give themselves a round of applause. Christian said the fans voted for the top 10 moments in TNA history, and he was there to reveal the number one moment in company history. And he says, roll it! Christian said the number one moment was Sting's debut with the company. That was a cool moment, and it's good to see TNA got something in return for allowing Ric Flair to attend the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. Here's hoping that there aren't too many bridges burned by TNA lawsuit against WWE because it would be nice if the two sides could occasionally work together for Hall of Fame purposes. I also wonder whether one of the reasons TNA inducted Sting this year was because they wanted to beat WWE to the punch. Well, after that, the video set up the TNA tag title match. As the tag champions were headed to the ring, Taz says he needs to pay more attention to Carter's tweets. Match number 8, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian versus AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. Styles showed good intensity in going after Daniels to start, which was the way it should have been, given a storyline. Styles also did a cool slide under the guardrail at ringside early in the match. However, the heels went on the offense and worked over Styles for several minutes by using rapid fire tags. Angle tagged in at 8 minutes in and worked over the heels He suplexed Daniels into a pin, but Kazarian broke it up. Angle hit the 2 German suplexes on Kazarian. He went for a third, but Kazarian held on to Daniels, who held on, had a hold on the ropes. Styles kicked Kazarian off the ropes, and then Angle suplexed them both in a crowd-pleasing spot. Well, at 10 minutes in, Styles flipped off the ropes and caught Kazarian in a reverse DDT position. He kicked Daniels and DDT'd him while also performing the reverse DDT on Kazarian. Angle continued to suplex both opponents repeatedly. Late in the match, Styles took out Daniels with a springboard flip dive onto Daniels on the floor. Back inside the ring, Angle put Kazarian in the ankle lock. Kaz nearly reached the ropes, but eventually tapped out. And you have new tag team champions with Kurt Angle and AJ Styles in about 14 minutes, 25-second match. Damn, that was a hell of a match. I lost a minute or two. If due to a storm killing my satellite reception. There were storms, the bad pay-per-view moments of the last 10 years. As much as I enjoyed the opener, that was the match of the night. Question the decision to move the tag titles at this point because Daniels and Kazarian, who are going to be very sore in the morning for all those suplexes, need those belts so much more than Angle and Styles do. It made a really good pay-per-view moment. But the long term is more important. That being said, there might be a storyline reason for it. And Daniels and Kazarian are clicking as a duo, so perhaps they'll be okay without the straps for a bit. I suspect that they'll get the backs sooner rather than later. Probably use their automatic rematch clause. Well, then a video setting up the main event. The announcers ran through the tail of the tape briefly, and then 10A ran through the bullet points. Sting made his entrance. Bobby Roode made his entrance. Jeremy Borash handled the in-ring introductions for the main event, which was match number 9. Bobby Roode versus Sting for the TNA title. Roode backed out of the ring a couple of times. Ref finally was able to call for the bell. Roode darted to ringside 2 more times. Sting followed the second time. They headed back inside the ring where Roode got the better of Sting until Sting came back with a big kick. Roode took a powder again. Sting chased him and ran him into the guardrail. Roode took offensive control and the pace was slow. Sting made a brief comeback, but he ran into a Roode boot in the corner. Well, actually, he stopped short of the boot, and it didn't look good. But no major harm done. Roode locked in a sleeper. The crowd rallied behind Sting by chanting his name. Sting caught Roode on the ropes and performed a suplex. Sting applied the Scorpion Deathlock at 7 minutes 40 seconds. Roode grimaced and teased, tapping a couple of times. He eventually reached the ropes. Tenay did a nice job of teasing that Roode was on the verge of tapping via calling the match. They headed to ringside with Roode running away. Sting caught him and rammed into the guardrail. Tenay then said that the guardrail has been Sting's favorite weapon during the match. The fans chanted, "You still got it," to Sting as he rolled Roode back in the ring. Roode rolled out the other side of the ring and walked to the guardrail. Sting ran at him and performed a Stinger Splash on the guardrail. At 10 minutes 15 seconds in, Sting applied the Scorpion Leg Lock on the announcer's table at ringside. Roode tapped out, but everybody knows that you cannot tap out outside the ring. And Taz pointed that out clearly, and it didn't count as the referee waved it off. Short time later, Roode grabbed some of James Storm's beer that was still sitting at the announcer's table for reasons that only Vince Russo, TNA Creative, knows. Roode brought the beer inside the ring. He tried to slam a bottle over Sting's head. Sting blocked it. Sting grabbed one of the bottles and wound up to use it. But the referee stopped him. The referee carried the bottle to the ringside. Roode picked up another bottle, one of the other bottles, and struck Sting with it as Sting bled. Roode made the cover and the referee made the 3 count. So Bobby retained the TNA title in 11 minutes 25 seconds. Well, after the match, Sting recovered quickly and clotheslined Roode to the floor. Sting knocked the referee down and then went to work on Rude on the floor. They went to the stage where Sting rammed Rude off the lighting structure. Sting followed up by performing the Scorpion Death Drop off the stage and through a table on the floor, which drew blood from the back of Sting's head and a holy shit chant from the crowd Sting paced to close the show. So that ends your pay-per-view. Okay. Why on a night when TNA produced a good pay-per-view event and looked as big league and professional as ever, they apparently felt they needed to pay tribute to all the shitty finishes they subjected their pay-per-views buyers to over the years? Brian Hedger looks like the dumbest TNA referee ever for carrying one bottle to ringside while there were others still in the ring. Then he made the count on broken glass. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's such a shame because this was a strong pay-per-view effort that was soiled by such a stupid main event finish again. Overall, if you can get the bad taste out of your mouth from the main event, you can be satisfied with your purchase of the show. That's why I always either get the results or watch it online myself. But due to the fact that I do work on the scheduled pay-per-view nights, I have no other choice but to read the results. And the comments of the opening match and the tag title match were excellent. Live crowd was great, and the look of the feel of the show was excellent, especially by TNA standards. What's worse is that it looks like they'll be get more from Rude versus Sting at some point. Sting has a place in TNA now, but it's not in the TNA title matches. It's in the Hall of Fame. And that ends my pay-per-view. And y'all can see my Monday Night Raw report on tomorrow night, as well as Tuesday night for SmackDown, NXT, and Superstars. And then again Thursday night, I actually will get to see TNA live this week since I'm off. And I can give a live report myself. And thank you and peace out.